Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're discussing about PDS Limited. So PDS Limited is a platform business, okay, where they provide this end-to-end solution for the entire fashion and retail business. Now I know when I tell platform business, supply chain, end-to-end, it seems very complicated. So let's just break it down into as simple as possible, okay? Let's take for example Zara. आपने तो Zara के बारे में सुना ही होगा, right? If not, if you're a lady friend, yes, of course. But if not, I mean, I think everybody knows about Zara, right? So Zara is a Spanish brand, as you all know. And you know how Zara works, right? Every bi-weekly they get out with a new design and everything. Now think about this. आपको पहले उस for that cloth, right? To make that, you need to design that first, right? And after that, you have to find what kind of cloth I need to be using in that, So you have to source it. While sourcing, you also have to see, you have to check with the material. You have to check, cost. कहाँ से मुझे अच्छा better quality मिल रहा है एक सस्ता दाम में, right? After that, you have to send this. आपको पहले इस material को source करना पड़ेगा जिससे आपका कपड़ा बनता है, right? First you have to get that material, source that material, and then after that you have to send all this raw material into the manufacturing plant, right? After that you have to manufacture it, like आपको design करना पड़ेगा, not design, sorry, manufacture करना पड़ेगा. Then after that, all this manufacturing, whatever you manufactured, you have to check for quality, right? To make sure the sizes are correct, it is stitched according to the size measurement, right? Or there is no the quality of the end product is fine. And then later you have to send these completely designed manufactured goods into different locations. You also think about it, that Zara has so many locations. They have to send it all around these locations and everything. So the entire chain, right? Like for example, if you are a fashion brand, let's say tomorrow there's a fashion brand called PNA Fashion Brands, right? So let's say for me, from getting my designs to sourcing the raw materials for that, for my clothes, to manufacturing it, to taking care of the entire logistics, everything, PDS takes care of it. That is what PDS. So PDS at the end of the day is a middleman between, let's say, a brand and a manufacturing, the entire source, right? So they act as a middleman over here. That's that about PDS. Okay, so let me just share it share my presentation here, and I think it would make more sense. Yep. Yeah. So like I told you, see, can you see here the entire value chain जो होता है, जिसके हम बोलते हैं complex terms, if I have to use, it is value chain. मतलब entire process जो होता है, जो start to end, एक brand को जो चाहिए, from designing that cloth to entire, like उनको, आप उनका shops में they have to send it, or until sending the shops, they take care of entire thing. Now, like I told you, what does this merchandise planning? Merchandise, like let's say now, merchandise planning is, basically, let's say you need a cloth, right? You need a cloth, you need the raw material, or the, whether it is cotton, that polyester, all of this thing. Where do you find this? Which is the best country to source it from? How is the quality of the raw material here? What is the cost? Everything is done in this merchandise planning. Merchandise का मतलब क्या है? कपड़ा, right? So all of this planning is done. And then designing का मतलब क्या है? Like you all know, एक कपड़ा को डिजाइन करना है. And then sourcing is, like I told you, where do you find it from? Where do you buy all these raw materials from? And then you purchase the raw materials. That is what these people do. They do all of these things, purchase the raw materials. After they purchase the raw material, they send it to the manufacturing plant, right? After it is manufactured, they also check for the quality, right? Agar quality अच्छा है या बुरा है, in the sense, like, let's say in all those clothes there is no, let's say a shirt has 6 buttons, all the 6 buttons are there, qualities, there is no holes or anything, kapda fata hua nahi hai, all of that. And then take care of from this manufacturing plant, like I told you, right? You have to send it to the different retail chains also. That, along with the, taking care of the brand value of, also they do that. So the entire, this is what you mean by value chain. Value chain ka matlab, simple sa matlab hai ye, from the start to the end, जो कोई भी process है, ये लोग देखते हैं. So basically they act as a middleman. ठीक है? Now, when you talk about the revenues, right, there are four types that they do is the four types that are there. पहला है एक design as a source. Now, what is this design as a source? Let me just stop this. I don't think it is needed. Yeah. Yeah. So what does design as a source mean, right? Design as a source means, let's say you are a brand, like let's say Zara is a brand, and now Zara might not have enough designers in their house, right? in their office too, because they're getting out with so many designs every week or so. They might not have enough people, to come out every week with some new design, or for that creative work. So what, as a brand, what I can do is I can outsource this design work to somebody else, right? And PDS has their in-house designers, right? They have in-house designers, and not only that, they have a bunch of designers outside also. They have that connections and contacts where if you give a contract to PDS, they will take care of the designing. That is number one. The other thing is sourcing as a service. Now, what does sourcing as a service means? Think about this, right? You are a brand, and you are, let's say, like, again, let's just come back to take an example. Let's just say, even if you are a brand in India or brand somewhere abroad, right? You are sitting in India, right? Or you are sitting somewhere abroad, but you need to know about this manufacturing plant. It is impossible, right? It becomes very, very tedious task for you to see, like, go to China and see, मैं यहाँ से raw materials लाऊं, या इसका quality कैसा है. Or think about this, you're sitting somewhere else, and it becomes tedious for you to go. You all know, right? Manufacturing, textile ka manufacturing is great in Bangladesh at the end of the day, because it's very cheap labor and very fast also to get it done, right? So think about it. You're somewhere in Spain, and you can't, right, keep every day. You won't be able to, like, to take care of the whole manufacturing thing, right? Like, जो भी कपड़ा manufacturing कर रहा है वहाँ पे, to take care of the laborers and everything, it becomes quite a tedious task for you, right, as a brand. So what you do, sourcing as a service, means they give out this, as a brand can give out this contract to PDS, right? And PDS will take care of everything, whether it is like, they go to, like, let's say, Bangladesh, Malaysia, Thailand, and they find these manufacturing plants and all of those things, and they give the contract there to manufacture, and they take care that the entire cloth that is needed for Zara for manufacturing, right, they will get it done and they'll give it to them. So this is what it means by sourcing as a service. Then the last thing is brand management. Now, brand management is like I told you, like, you now see, Zara has a brand value. If you look about it, Ted Baker has a brand value. So is brand ko ek, like, taking care about the entire digitalization, marketing, or all of these for these brands. Now they take care of that also. Like, ek influencers ke sath work karna, celebrities ke sath work karna, all of this also they do. Basically, to give you that brand value. The last thing they also do is, other than this, is unka hi ek manufacturing plant hai. Like I told you, they outsource the work also, right? They're like a middleman between the manufacturers and the brands, right? Not only that, they have their own manufacturing plant. I think they started this in the year 2018. Until then, they didn't have the manufacturing plant, and they have now two manufacturing plants in Bangladesh. They have. Matlab kya? Like, they can in-house manufacturing bhi wo log kar sakte hain. So to wrap it all off, basically, PDS is like a middleman between the manufacturer and the brand, right? Because see, all these manufacturers that are there, they're very, very small and unorganized players, right? They won't be able to contact this big brands, such as, let's say, River Island and Zara and Moschino and Ted Baker and all that. It's not possible for them, right? So these people, what they do, they connect them with the big brands. Basically, PDS becomes, like a one stop shop solution. Just like Amazon mein aap jaate ho, you get everything, anything and everything. Similarly, PDS is trying to be this one stop shop solution for all these brands. So tomorrow, if a brand comes to them, they can take care of the entire thing for them, from sourcing the material, manufacturing that, logistics, retail, branding, everything. PDS will take care of it for you, right? That is what PDS is. Now you can ask me, like, Prerna, how does this help you? Think about this, right? The entire textile industry, the entire fashion and retail industry that you see, on the other hand, on the manufacturing space, is very unorganized, right? Like, if you see, even in India today, there are very small players, right? There is no, like, like an organized play that is happening. PDS comes here, because they are very large, they have an ecosystem and everything, so here the shift is going from an unorganized space to organized space. And you understand that PDS has that, is an organized play here, right? So that's that about the business model. Now let's just see the revenue breakup, right? In the revenue breakup, if you see, majority of the revenue that is there, right, unka around, yeah, around this is based on the Q1FY24 result. If you see, 94% of the revenue comes from sourcing, right? Sourcing ka matlab, like I explained you, the entire, getting the raw materials, getting it manufactured, sending it, all of that things. 94% comes from sourcing, right? And then the other 5% comes from manufacturing. This is actually great, because 2018 they started this whole manufacturing plant of theirs. They started I think operation commenced, and usually it takes 3 to 5 years for a manufacturing plant to break even. Okay. So that is why you're seeing, the portion of revenue that is coming from their the manufacturing is quite less. The other thing is they have something called PDS venture capital. Now, what is this PDS venture capital? So, if they find a startup where they see a potential, or if they find a business that they see a potential, they keep investing in that businesses. They keep acquiring certain stake or investing in their businesses. So this is PDS venture capital, and they have like multiple investments here. Like certain times in real estate, certain it's a very small portion right now, as you can see. Because majority of the revenue is coming from here only, sourcing only. It is still a very small portion, but even this is something that they do. Various startups that are there that they invested, and it ranges from one category to another category, right? The next thing that you see is in terms of their sourcing, जो 94% उनका breakup जो आता है, right, from the revenue, 94% जो sourcing से आता है. If you see, right, in that also, like the clothes that they get manufactured, highest portion is for menswear. Like 40% the clothes that they get sourced and they manufacture it for is for men's. Like this is of course an accumulation of brands. जो भी इनका brands के साथ deals है, like whether all of the brands that they have, in that majority is coming for menswear. Second is for women's wear. Then okay, sorry, yeah. Yeah, men's wear is 40%, women's wear is 34, children's wear is 21, and essential wear is 1%, right? Okay, this is the category wise split, like that is what they do. Then the geography wise, if you see, like geography wise here, what it means is, let's say the clients, where are they concentrated from, right? Because like I told you, these people act as a middleman for the manufacturer and the brand, right? So whoever brands that they are, who is their customer, who is PDS ka customer, if you see, are all from, majority are from Europe. The second one is from North America, right? This is where the majority of the clients, like I told you, they mainly cater to all these international clients, right? Because you understand it, in un logo ko it becomes very tough to come here to Bangladesh, Malaysia and Thailand, and to get adjusted to the labor laws, and take care of all of these things. So this is where you see UK also 41%. This is where majority of the Europe, UK and North America. North America is third. This is where the client concentration is. As you can see, UK is the majority one, 41% वहां से आ रहा है, right? So अगर आप अभी देख, this is more or less about the business model, right? To wrap it up again, I might be reiterating it. They just are a platform, right, for a brand, so the brand can come here, give them the work, and PDS will take care of the entire value chain prospect, right? That is what PDS does. As simple as that. There is nothing complicated, right? Okay. Now, in terms of, if you see Q1 FY24 result, you would see that it isn't that great, right? अगर आप देखते हो, revenue has been down on a quarter-on-quarter basis, even on a year-on-year basis. अगर आप देखते हो, right? Okay, I understand quarter-on-quarter basis में थोड़ा seasonality होगा, right? Because Q3 and Q4 are always the best season, right? So you can see here, even on a year-on-year basis, it is down. And PAT, as you can see, has been down by a very large amount, right? It's almost down by 47%. Literally half of the PAT is wiped off. You can see PAT margin is also very low for this business. Now, having said that, see, PAT margin will be low here now because they are a middleman at the end of the day, right? Brand के साथ और manufacturer को जुड़ने का काम इनका है. So of course इनका PAT margins जो भी है, वो तो always, because they act like, more or less, you see, they're more into like a contract manufacturing kind of thing, right? Same kind of business model, like I always explain you in auto ancillary sandwich kind of business model, right? So that is the reason you will see here the margins are always low. Now, why is this revenue down, right? It's now, 1 second, yeah. So why is this revenue down? As you can see, let me just, yeah, you will see that the revenue is down for two reasons, right? One is, of course, if you see, you saw that majority of the clients are where from UK, Europe and North America. Now you understand that over the last year, because of all the after post COVID, it's been very hard for these people to recover, right? We've seen on one hand that the Indian business, the Indian retail is doing extremely well. Even in terms, when you talk about Indian retail also, the premium sectors are doing well, right? It is doing top notch performance. But here, when you talk about this US, you not sorry, North America, that is US, and then you see that UK and Europe, you see they are still suffering they're still suffering the woes of inflation, right? You take any export oriented business, one such business that comes off to my mind is Carousel. You will see there also, since majority of their income is coming from export, you will see that their margins and profits are also being dragged down there, right? So one is because, of course, due to the muted demand that you see because of all of these, the just because the environment, the geopolitical and the scenario in Europe and North America is not good. That is one, and combine that with the inflation woes. That is number one thing. The second thing is, you saw that if you would have seen the stock had performed really well. I think over a year back, right, in FY22, 23, in that time it performed really well. Now, why is that so? Because you see, we were coming right out of COVID, right? So there was a lot of pent up demand, right? Because of this pent up demand, what happened? Brands started giving more and more contracts, right? So PDS started, of course, इनका भी revenue बढ़ता है, यहाँ पे top line बढ़ा, growth profit बढ़ने लगा. As a result, ये growth था इसमें. The rate of growth was there, pace of growth जो भी बोलो, growth was there, right? Because of this pent up demand. इसके ये stock भी भागने चला, right? After that, what happened? Then the down cycle आया, inflation आया, demand आया, the demand became normalized, right? And on the one end, क्या हुआ? All these companies that were there, they hoarded up on all this inventory, right? Like they have inventories now, and now the demand is not that great also, एक stock है उनका shops में. The retailers are not able to sell the existing stock also that is there. So because of this inventory not being sold off, और एक वजह है. Then the other reason is, if you see इस बार ईद जो था, right, the Eid holidays, actually if you see, it was 16 days in Q1 FY24, like इस बार. Usually the Eid is around 9 days, right? This time it was 16 days. So all these 16 days, what happened? They had to shut down their manufacturing plants. And also, right, all these manufacturing plants that they have, where they source it from is also in Bangladesh, right? And Bangladesh has majority Muslim population. Because of this was one of the other reasons why you saw that Q1 FY24 was impacted, right? So this is the entire crux at the end of the day, right? It is a great business. I mean, it is a good business, as you can tell. But having said that, because right now, at the end of the day, जो भी हो रहा है, because of Europe and America, में, the situation is not proper. The demand is muted, right? As a result, because of that, you're seeing इनका भी performance भी उसके वजह से ही घटा है, right? Now coming back, to see, what they have done in terms of like recently they have done certain acquisitions also. There is this company called Ted Baker, right? It is a fashion company. It is known for making clothes and bags and everything. So what happened is they have taken the part. What is that? Yeah, they've gotten into a partnership with Ted Baker. Ted Baker is a brand that belongs to a group. So they've gotten into partnership with that group, that Europe ka Ted Baker ka jo koi bhi operations hai, that they will take care of it, from like I told you, the entire designing, sourcing and everything. The sourcing part of it, they will take care of it for Ted Baker, which is kind of a big deal, right? The second thing is, there is this large retail shop called Gary Weber in Germany, right? They've also taken how do I tell you? They have acquired a stake, and they're going to be operating that entire departmental store. Like I told you, the entire sourcing and everything has to be done. Then then the other thing is, they've also acquired a small supply chain company in Bangladesh, to take care of the entire end-to-end supply chain also that is there. Other than that, if you see, right, if you look at yeah, other than that, if you see, not much to talk about it. Yeah, that the Bangladesh, the supply chain company that I told you was Transport Partnership Limited, right? That's the one. And yeah, so two acquisitions. One is the Transport Partnership Limited, but the main one is that Ted Baker ka acquisition they have done, for Authentic Brands. So Authentic Brands handles Ted Baker ka group. So they have taken the entire sourcing, the sourcing part of it for this one, for how do I tell you, for Ted Baker in Europe alone. And not just this, actually, if you see Ted Baker that they acquired last quarter, it has already started to become, it has started to add to their top line also. It has been performing well. I think it grew by 30 to 40% on year-on-year basis. Profit Jota, I think it grew by 9%. So all in all, Ted Baker, seems to be doing well for them as of now, at least, right? So going forward, what does it look like? What is the guidance? How does the company feel about this, right? About the future demand and everything. So you understand, right? Because they have majority of the clients, they have concentrated like into UK and Europe. Until the demand gets better over there, until the inflationary demand gets better over there, people are okay with going out and purchasing stuff, right? Purchasing clothes and everything. Their demand also will not be good. But they recently have seen, I think even this is also mentioned even in Carousel also, right? They are also telling that the inflation ka jo hai, it is getting a bit cooled off. You can a little bit of uptick recovery we can see, and H2 will be better right? Because H1 jo hai, it hasn't been great for them. Like I told you, this quarter, again next quarter to monsoon hi hoga, so it is deemed to be weak. But having said that, H2 ke onwards, you're seeing that thoda sa recovery, it is going to happen, right? So they expect that H2 to be better than H1, the half yearly. The second thing what they're expecting is, because already H1 में इतना first quarter भी चला गया because of muted demand, Q2 भी जो है, because of the monsoon seasons, it will be muted again. So because of that, they expect this year FY24 may, the guidance to be around 10%, or probably like a single digit top line hoga. And going forward, probably and the profits jo ho sakta hai, they can expect somewhere between 15 to 20% more compared to last year. That is what they're expecting. Again, this provided that the condition improves, H2 becomes better, and inflation jo hai UK and France may, and all of that, it cools off. So that is one thing they are focusing on. Now coming back finally to end this off as to, like, what is the risk associated with this business model, as you told, as I mentioned, right? One thing, remember I mentioned unka jo itne sare they are into investing into so many startups. Not just that, they have a lot of subsidiaries. Like they have like hundreds, more than hundreds, I think, probably subsidiaries that are there, right? So because of this, this is a possible risk also, because these subsidiaries are there at multiple location, and they're doing different operations. Not just that, sometimes what happens is certain subsidiaries, they can be catering, like let's say there is one person, like one subsidiary A in Bangladesh and B in Hong Kong, right? And they can be at the end of the day trying to acquire the same client, right? So cannibalization bhi ho sakta hai like this, right? Like one person will get the deal in the company in one subsidiary of this, and the other person might lose to to the same, to a different subsidiary of the same company. So that is one thing. Because of this hundreds of subsidiary, it becomes very tedious. The second thing is, like I told you, since they are a middleman between the how do I tell you, between the brands and the manufacturers, their margin is very, very low, like razor thin margin. You saw that, right? This time the margin was 1%, but even in good times also the margin was hardly 1.9%, 2% max, 2 to 3%. So having that razor thin margin becomes very, 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 very difficult. The third thing is also, like I told you, these people operate more from all this Bangladesh, Thailand, and Malaysia, because एक तो garment का business है, right? And that is where you can get it produced, manufactured for cheaper cost. And see this, and when you are involved in a garment business, there will be ever changing labor laws, taxation laws, and all of these things. So see, one way it is advantage of a brand that they don't have to take care of all this headache of all this labor laws and all of this, so they outsource it to PDS. Now it becomes PDS ka headache to take care of all this labor laws, and all of the other things, right? So this, they have to keep complying with the government of, whichever country that they operate, either it is in Bangladesh or Thailand. They have to comply with that ever changing labor laws, and the factory conditions and everything. So it becomes, it again coming back to the same point, it is tedious. That is another thing. Other than that, if I have to say, like I mentioned, right, because of this, not just this labor laws, also in other terms is like the taxation also that comes with it. It keeps changing. Again, it can hit on their margins also. Similar thing happened this time. Actually, Bangladesh ka jo tha, taxation for this garment industry increased, right? इसके वजह से भी ये PAT का impact हुआ है. And the second reason for also this PAT and margins to fall down is not just this Bangladesh ka taxation laws. UK maybe, the taxation has increased. So Ted Baker, जिन्होंने what they acquired Ted Baker, they had to pay more tax this year compared to last year. So like I told you, always an issue. So that is just a part and parcel of the game and the industry that they are in. Other than that, there's nothing. These are the three main issues that I can point out. One is the subsidiary, the labor laws, like I told you, the labor laws and the country that they operate in, the taxation issue. And the third, because of the nature of the business model, they have a very, very razor thin margin. To wrap it all up, at the end of the day, see, like I told you, right, it is a good, it is something unique that they're doing, and you can see a lot more demand that can happen, right? As you see more and more, as you move forward, there will be a shift from an unorganized space to organized space. And especially when you're catering to all these big brands, they would prefer anybody who's giving them end-to-end solution, in an organized way, compared to anybody, going to a local person any day, right? That is something they will do. So of course the business model is good, and as you move forward, it can always progress. But having said that, right now, looking at the situation, the demand is not that great. There are a lot of headwinds in the industry, and it is more or less like a hope that H2 will be better, right? Of course one day it will be better, but again, H2 can be better or can again go back to being worst also, you never know. So that's that about PDS. And I hope to see you again tomorrow with another business model. Yeah. So until then, take care. Bye bye.